Hey, what's up, guys? We're back, and we're gonna get right into it today. And the first fight of the night for UFC on Fox 26 is Nordine Taleb against Danny Roberts, and this is an interesting fight. This is most likely gonna be a striking affair. Nordine Taleb is, in my opinion, the more technical striker. He's a Muay Thai striker. Throws a lot of good leg kicks, a lot of body kicks. He's very composed in the cage. He against Eric Silva, he was able to catch a kick, come back with a right hand, knock him out. He definitely does good in the war too, where he's able to make it technical. If you're coming at him crazy, he's able to stay right out of your range, be in his range, and just piece you up from the outside. And he has a nice body kick too, and he puts a lot of pressure on you. It's not like he's one of these guys that's always backing up. He likes to put a lot of pressure on you, back you against the cage, and real good jab. And he has a real nice check left hook that he catches people with when they try to come in on him. And he does a great job of sliding just out of the way of punches, and he kicks and comes back with hard counters. And he had a real close fight with Ponzinibbio. And he's a real big, athlete for the division. In my opinion, he's going to be the, stronger guy than Danny Roberts. And he has a good double leg control on top. He did that against Oliver Enkamp. He actually has a good cardio, a good chin as well. And Danny Roberts is someone who likes to strike from the outside. He's an athletic, rangy striker. Has good knockout power. Nice inside leg kick. He throws hard kicks to the body. He's good going backwards and forwards. Against Mike Perry, he had a pretty good performance until he was caught. Even though I do see people kind of blowing that out of proportion. I mean, he was dropped in the first round as well. It's not as if he was just dominating Perry. But, he's a former boxer, and it shows in his fights because he attacks to the body well. He has a good overhand right. He KO'd Bobby Nash in his last fight, who... Bobby Nash has a questionable chin. He got KO'd again recently on UFC Shanghai. So it kind of takes a little bit away from the win, but he doesn't have incredible wrestling, but he is improving with his takedown defense, Danny Roberts is. And, he does a decent job of being active off of his back. He'll go for triangles and arm bars. He actually got a pretty slick triangle against Nathan Coy. And, he has good movement, but I just think that, Taleb is going to be a little bit more powerful with the strikes. He's going to be a little bit more composed in there, be just a little bit better striker. I think he's going to have, more avenues to win. I think he's going to be able to take down Danny Roberts too, and I think he'll win a decision. I think he'll put him down, pick him up, and be able to win a decision that way. And up next, we have Eric Silva against Jordan Meehan. And this is kind of a weird fight. Both of these guys are definitely at the tail end of their careers, especially Eric Silva in terms of, length of his career and all that. Jordan Meehan hasn't been nearly as active recently, even though he was active, when he was younger, and he's much younger. But Jordan Meehan took that long time off, and since he's came back, man, he just hasn't showed that same fire that he showed before. He against Emil Meek, he came out real good. He was throwing the jab, he was composed, and but when he was taken down, he was just showed no urgency to get up. He wasn't attacking off of his back, and he was just real passive after that round one. It's like he got gassed, he got touched up, and after he got touched up, he just didn't want it anymore, and he was letting Meek just get in on his legs real easy, put him against the fence, and he did show better takedown defense against Bilal Muhammad, but he still had the same problems after, and even during the first round, to be honest, in this one. He was just real timid. He was letting Bilal get in on his legs, put him against the cage, and he really only threw leg kicks in that fight, and he never put himself in a position to win. He never put himself in a position to hurt, and it seemed like he just didn't really want to go for it, and so I don't know what he's doing. I know in his last training camp, he was training just him and his uncle or him and his brother or something like that, which is just real weird. And I don't think that's something that you're going to be able to win doing like long term. But, Eric Silva's another guy that, you could say he's damaged goods potentially, even though I think Eric Silva's actually shown a little bit of life since he's left King's MMA, man. He's left King's MMA and he actually came back with a little bit less of a crazy style. He's throwing more jabs, being a little bit more composed. And in his fight versus Luan Chagas, he did, throw some huge shots, and it was a wild war early. But in that third round, he was able to, slow it down, get a little more composed, start throwing the jab, start throwing the leg kick, and then he ultimately took the back really slickly, and got a rear naked choke, and it was really nice. They were both tired, but he was the one that showed that he could keep his technique, and he really did a great job in that fight getting the submission. And Chagas is a pretty good fighter. I think Chagas would be a hell of a fight for Jordan Meehan. And then in his fight against Yancy Medeiros, he dropped Yancy, and he was having a really good fight, and Yancy eventually finished him, but it wasn't like a crazy stoppage. I'm pretty sure he was arguing the stoppage, and Yancy is savage, man. You saw that in his last fight. If you can't knock him out, he just has a chin of steel, and he's gonna keep coming. And I just think that Eric Silva, still has good kicks, still has explosive combinations, hard right hook, good jiu-jitsu, all that. And I just think that he wants it more than Jordan Meehan, man. I still think Eric Silva's a killer, even though he's lost a step. I think he'll still fight to the death and all that. And I really think that in this one he's going to be coming in, just be the much more confident and more willing guy to trade in there. And I think that he's actually going to get a finish in this fight. I'm going to say that he finishes Jordan Meehan by TKO in round 3. And then up next we have a fight that is pretty interesting. It's Alessio Di Chirico against Olawale Bamboche. And both these guys are lower level 85ers, but they're still prospects. Bamboche is a crazy athlete, very explosive, and he comes in that first round and he comes in with throws everything but the kitchen sink. He throws crazy shots. He has wild movement where he's looking you off. And he'll come in with explosive hooks. He'll throw kicks, spinning kicks, and he did find a KO against Daniel Sarafian, and he dropped Cesar Mutapchik. And he had a decent first round against Borchinia too, so definitely in that first round, or even the first 3 minutes, man. After those first 3 minutes, he definitely gasses real hard, and he definitely has to put you out, I think, in those first 3 minutes, or you got the win as long as you don't do anything stupid. And that's the same game plan that I think Di Chirico is going to have to do, but Di Chirico is much less athletic than Bamboche, but he's just a more composed guy. He'll come in with this high guard and box. He has he throws short shots. He has a good short left, and he throws body kicks, but he is a little flat-footed and methodical, and that could put him in trouble early on. If he stands in front of Bamboche, he definitely could get finished, early. But I just think that if Bamboche can't finish him in those first 3 minutes, that he should be able to use his takedown game that he also has, his decent top control, his body kicks, the short shots, and just outwork Bamboche for the other 2 rounds. And I think that he knows that. I think all these guys see, obviously they're watching him, and they see Bamboche only can last for 3 minutes or so. So I'm going to say that Alessio Di Chirico stays away from that first round, very conservative, and he ends up, I think he could even finish with ground and pound, but I'm going to say that he wins a, dominant decision where he really wins the second and third round easily over a gassed Bamboche. And up next we have John Makdessi against Abel Trujillo, and this is a fight that I'm just very confident in. John Makdessi and Abel Trujillo are both, veterans. They both fought in the UFC a long time. But Abel Trujillo is just, I think, just a much better guy. He's bigger, stronger, has more power. He's a 4-time NAIA All-American wrestler. And he uses it in his fights, He gets takedowns and goes for heavy ground and pound. Definitely a KO artist, has huge power in his punches. He likes to blitz in and attack with heavy hooks, or he, waits for you to come in and counters with hooks as well, He'll throw leg kicks, and he definitely is trying to be more composed in his game recently. And he definitely has a good chin, and he becomes dangerous when you land on him flush, Like he'll be come into survival mode. He did it against James Vick. He'll throw huge bombs where it's just like he's just telling you to get away from him almost. He did that with Jamie Varner. They had their war, and he was severely hurt, and he was able to finish Jamie in that fight regardless. But he does have problems with cardio and, submission defense. Even though he is gritty with it, he was able to survive a real tight choke against James Vick, and he also was, doing real well against Tony Ferguson in that first round. He dropped Tony, and he got dominated against John Makdessi, but against Khabib Nurmagomedov, not John Makdessi, but yeah, so he's only lost to the cream of the crop, but John Makdessi is someone that I just think that he's on the outs, He's a Taekwondo guy. He does have some nice, clean straight counters, nice leg kicks, and, dangerous spinning techniques. He had a nice KO with the spinning technique early in his career. I can't remember against who, but he had a potential life changer in his last fight. That spinning heel kick to the jaw was, devastating, and you gotta wonder how he's gonna come back from that. And Makdessi, even prior to that, was already showing, major slowing down and a major chin issue where he got dropped by Baghdad. Even though he won that fight, he got knocked out and his jaw broken by Donald Cerrone. And I just don't have any faith in that guy. He was also involved in this, I can't remember what it was, but it was some company where he was trying to, raise money for fighters, and he ended up getting all these lawsuits on him because he didn't pay the fighters, and so he has that going on in his life as well, and he's never been a guy that's done well against people that try to take him down. Dennis Hallman destroyed him. He actually did do pretty well against Alan Patrick, but he was taken down in that fight as well. And I just think that Trujillo is going to just come in, and Makdessi is going to be real tentative after being KO'd like that in his last fight. And I just think he's going to be able to take him down in round one early and just get dominant position on him and just finish him with TKO. I just think he's just too big, too athletic, and that's one of my more confident picks right there, Abel Trujillo over John Makdessi. And up next, you have Tim Elliott against Petro Menga. And Petro Menga actually does seem like he's a pretty good fighter. He's well-rounded. His last two fights, he was able to get a real slick submission and a nice KO, but he's real inactive, In his fight, his previous fight against Macomb, he was able to get it down early, control the back, and then got a rear naked choke. And then in his win against in Bellator, where he was coming off a 2-year layoff, no signs of rust. He came right in and knocked the guy out in 2 minutes. He landed a nice body kick and had real good timing on a straight left and just one punch KO'd the guy, and real impressive, very fast, and for 125 pounds it seemed like he definitely has a lot of power. And he was calm, seemed real composed in there. He didn't seem like he takes a lot of risks, unlike his opponent Tim Elliott, and he was able to take the back off of weird scrambles on the ground. And he seems good both on the ground and on the feet, But he has been having long layoffs, and he's going to be coming in off another one where he hasn't fought in a year and a half. I guess him and Bellator had contract issues, and then he wasn't able to get opponents, but he was going through camps, so I guess that's a good thing. But he's coming in on short notice here, and I think he definitely has a better, cleaner striking compared to Tim Elliott. And he's active in his guard, man. He'll go for triangles, arm bars. real good at throwing up the hips, attacking. And Tim Elliott, everyone knows what he's going to do. He's going to come in with this crazy wild wrestling. He easily gets double legs against these guys, though. I mean, against all his opponents, like, he's just way stronger. He does a good job of staying right in your face, and really makes you work on the feet. He'll throw some punches and kicks, but he goes right back for those takedowns. And when he gets you down, he does a good job of getting to side control, throwing elbows. But he does dive into guillotine sometimes. But he does a pretty good job of getting out of him most of the time, and he shows real good scrambling ability, He's real hard to hold down. He's big and strong for the division. He throws a lot of hand combinations on the feet, but all of his punches and combinations are all just, leading to the takedown. And I think that he should be able to take down Manga at will, to be honest. I saw Manga get taken down a lot in his other fights, but I do think Manga is the real deal. But I think Elliott will be able to get top position on the ground and just win a decision. But he definitely has to be wary of the submissions. And he can't be using all that crazy head movement that he did in his last fight where he got caught with the head kick. And that was what led to his finish, where Bedouin was able to take his back and get a rear naked choke. They said that he was hurt off of the earlier head kick. But I'm going to still go with Tim Elliott here. I think that he's going to be able to put the pace on the guy since he doesn't have a full camp, hasn't fought in over a year and a half. And I just think he's going to be able to win by decision here. So I'm going to go with Tim Elliott. And up next, you have Chad Laprise against Galore Bufondo, this is a really great fight. Galore Bufondo kind of came out of nowhere to become one of the most fascinating prospects of the year. Dynamic striker, extremely fast, good power in his hands and legs, and he'll throw some crazy strikes. He'll throw spinning heel kicks. He'll double up, throw double spinning heel kick. Good power in the pocket, and great knees in the clinch. He'll throw a knee to the body, knee to the head really fast. Just a KO artist, man. And he's fought a lot of real good strikers. I watched him fight Peter Irving, and I don't know what it was like UK MMA, but it really looked like a kind of like a Muay Thai kickboxing match. And he did real well in that fight. He was actually able to win that fight, and that guy's a real respected kickboxer, so that shows me that he went, they were only 3-minute rounds, 3-minute rounds, but he was the one that was more fresh at the end, so I don't think he's going to have huge cardio problems, and he has been training at Learn and Shoot fighters recently, so I do think that his takedown defense is going to be a lot better. I think he's going to be real hard for someone to just time his movement to be able to go in for takedowns on him, especially if you're not a long-time wrestler. But he had that huge slam KO of Charlie Ward, but prior to that, he hadn't fought in 2.5 years in MMA, and he's only fought 2 times since 2012. So, I mean, maybe in the UFC, hopefully they could start to get him some more, they could start to give him, more competition, more fights, and he could start to get in a rhythm, or we could just kind of start to see what he is, But both of his losses are by illegal knees. But he does have those 4 KOs and 1 submission, so those are his 5 fights, 5-2. So not a very extensive record either on the guy. But Chad Laprise is a striker, great hands. He's going to be the smaller guy in this matchup, and I definitely think he's going to be the weaker guy in terms of physical strength. But he had another fight against a striker in Cespedes, a Cuban guy, and he used a good game plan. He took him down, controlled him against the cage, and I think that it's real imperative that he has a similar game plan. I don't think that he's going to be able to fight at range against Bufondo. I think Bufondo is going to be bigger, stronger, faster, and just a better fighter at range. More kicks, just more options. And he showed extreme strength in his last fight. And I don't think Laprise is the biggest 170. And I just think he's outgunned on the feet here, and that's Laprise's best chance to win. Always is on the feet, and he may be able to get him down and grind him out. It's very possible. But I just think Bufondo is going to be able to stop the takedowns and maybe just stop the entries of Laprise. And I think he's going to finish him with a high kick. I think he's going to finish him with a high kick in the second round. And I'm going to go with Galore Bufondo to keep it moving. And I don't know. We'll see what he becomes. I'm kind of interested to see. But up next, you have Julian Marquez against Darren Stewart, and I guess they're keeping Darren Stewart around to be the resident jobber for the Dana White Contender Series guys, because just last month or very recently he got finished real quick by Carl Roberson and by submission, and Roberson's a kickboxer, so I mean it showed that he obviously doesn't have a very well-rounded game if you have a kickboxer just submitting you in the first round like nothing, and he's not very good in my opinion, but he is explosive early and he can knock you out if you don't mind your P's and Q's. He tries to slam you and use heavy ground and pound. He'll hold you against the cage. Good power in his right hand, solid in the clinch, knees and elbows, but after that first round, he just gasses out completely. Way worse than Julian Marquez. Marquez gasses out as well, or slows down, but he doesn't gas out nearly as much as Darren Stewart does. And he's fast and athletic for his size. He throws in combinations. He has a nice front kicks to the body, nice straight left, or he throws a short left hook as well, and good chin. He had a war against Chris Harris in the UFC or in Bellator, and in his last fight he KO'd Phil Hawes, and Phil Hawes is a physical specimen, elite wrestler, and he showed good takedown defense in that fight, but he was taken down. But in that second round he landed some huge shots, and he attacked with a nice guillotine as well, and but in that second round he landed a good 1-2 combination, and then waited for Haas to get up against the cage and timed a perfect head kick and knocked him out cold. And I just think that Marquez is just much better. I think he could finish early. I think that he's going to knock out Darren Stewart in the first round, and this is one of my most confident picks of the night right there. But up next we have Jan Blachowicz against Jared Cannonier. And Jared Cannonier is, he's a real bad striker, man. He's really good on the feet. Just a bad motherfucker on the feet. His striking, just hands down. He doesn't super fast hand combinations, real good jab. He has incredible head movement. He can evade punches coming in, throws quick counters. Good kicking game as well, but I think he should utilize his kicks more, man. I mean, when he throws his kicks, they look devastating. Great switch head kick to the head, and I just think that he comes forward and he demoralizes people because he shows them that they can't hit him and he can hit them when they try to strike, and they just almost don't want to throw anymore. He did that to Jan Kutalaba, and he did that as well when he was at heavyweight against Cyril Asker, and he knocked Cyril Asker out cold, devastating knockout. Against Nick Rorick, he did the same thing, where he was able to start walking him down, talking to him, and he was able to take him out, and he has real great cardio. That's one of his main strengths, and he's able to stay active in that third round. He has a great chin as well, and this is going to be actually his first fight where he's moved to Arizona and he's training full time at the MMA lab. So I'm really interested to see, man, because this guy I really think is going to be the best version of himself, and I think that he really could be a prospect if he shows up that takedown defense, because he already does have some decent defense off of his back, where he wasn't hurt at all by Glover Teixeira. He was able to control the hands. He wasn't allowing him to rain down any ground and pound, and he's actually pretty good at getting up against the cage, but when you're in the middle of the cage with his back on the ground, he doesn't show the propensity at all to get up, so he definitely needs to work on that. But Jan, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm still not hyped on Jan. He has that big body kick, some decent punches, but I don't think he's the best boxer. He doesn't really have one-punch KO power with his hands. I think he much more power with his feet, but he's much less mobile and fast than Cannonier. And I think Cannonier is going to be snapping that jab off on him all day. I think Jan's going to try to come in with the game plan to take him down, and early he may be able to take him down, that first round. But consistently, I just don't see it, man. He gasses really bad in almost all of his fights. I mean, in his last fights against Devin Clark, he got a bulldog choke, and it was just because Clark was just too eager to try to get in the clinch, and
Cannonier's not going to be like that. Cannonier's going to be on the, moving, throwing jabs, using great footwork, and I think he's going to be much faster than Yan. I think he's going to be tagging him on the feet, and I think that Yan's going to be starting to slow down noticeably in the middle of that first round, early second round, and start doing some panic takedowns, getting up real slow, and I think Cannonier's going to finish him in the third round. I think he's going to have a flurry against the cage, and I think Blachowicz is just going to fall. I think Cannonier's going to finish him by TKO. And up next, we have a real fun fight, Misha Cirkunov against Glover Teixeira. And, both these guys are coming off bad knockouts in their last fight, where Glover's was more of a sustained beating. He took a big beating against Alexander Gustafsson, took a lot of uppercuts, a big barrage of uppercuts, actually finished him off. And he actually had some moments in that fight. He just had a lot of problems cutting off the cage against Gustafsson. Gustafsson came with a good game plan of just completely avoiding him, fighting in the pocket with him, never getting his back against the cage, staying long, throwing uppercuts, using a lot of feints and fakes. But Glover did have his moments in that fight. Early in the first round, he landed a huge slam takedown. He didn't get the top position, but showed really good strength. And I thought he showed great cardio in that fight because he was getting rocked and he was still coming forward all the way into that fifth round when he was finished. Pushing, landing some big shots of his own. And everyone knows in the pocket, Glover has some huge hooks, short hooks, long hooks, and he's just really powerful with his boxing. And I think Cirkunov's last fight, his was the opposite, where he got KO'd very fast. First 50 seconds, I don't remember what it was, maybe 30 seconds, and seemed like a real weak punch, but hit him right in the right spot and knocked him out, and everyone knows that Ozdemir has that big power, but I think that Misha's just going to give Glover the fight that he wants. I think Misha's still, he's not a developed striker where he's going to be on the outside landing shots, landing kicks, staying at his range. He's going to want to come in and use his hands and bang in the pocket with Teixeira, and I just think Teixeira is better at that. I think Teixeira's just the better, cleaner boxer. I think he's going to have the cleaner hands and the feet in the pocket, and I don't think Misha's going to be able to take him down consistently, man. He may be able to get him down a couple times here and there, but I think that Glover's going to be able to win this fight, man. I actually think Glover's going to finish him, and I don't really wouldn't be surprised if it was early, man. So I'm going to say Glover finishes him in the first round with by TKO on the feet. I think Misha Cirkunov's going to come in, give Glover the exact fights he wants, where he's going to come in and try to take him down, try to stay in his face and box him up. And Glover's going to be able to come in with the short shot off of the long hooks of Misha, and he's going to knock him out. And up next, we have a real great fight with Mike Perry against Ponzinibbio. And Mike Perry is a guy that, he just comes in with huge pressure. Everyone knows what he wants to do. He wants to knock you unconscious, right? And huge right hand, big overhands. But he has gotten a lot more technical in his recent fights, and I think he's become underrated. He throws some nice jabs. He has some nice fakes and feints, and he throws a nice body kick now. He threw it against Ellenberger. Against Ellenberger, he was much more respectful than he was against Reyes. I think against Reyes, he just knew that he was the bigger guy. He could overpower him, and that's what he did. He took him right in the clinch and just fucked him up, real bad. But against Ellenberger, he showed him respect, throwing jabs, throwing body kicks, more composed style. But he still sat down on his punches too much in the pocket and got countered. But his power in his right hand is just tremendous, and especially his left hook. His left hook has great power as well. He's able to drop Jake Ellenberger with it. And he's very athletic, closes the distance very well, good chin. But he has been dropped, in his fights. He got dropped against Al Juban. But he does walk through shots, land his own shots. Nasty in the clinch, man. Knees, elbows. KO'd Ellenberger with a disgusting elbow. And had a sick knee against Alex Reyes. And I expect Mike Perry to come into this fight real good, real technical, and the best Mike Perry that we ever seen. I really think that he's someone that's dedicated, And but I think Santiago is just much more technical. He pops in that quick jab, has fast hands in general. Good job of throwing in combinations, especially when he gets you on that back foot. He'll start to throw some big combinations. Throw a head kick. Finish with a right hand. He throws a 1-2. A lot of good lateral footwork, which I think is really going to be key to his success in this fight. Just not staying in front of Perry. Good job of landing and getting out of the way. But he does have a thing where he does with eye pokes, man. He eye poked Nordine Taleb. He eye poked Gunner. That led to that finish. But I think that he's going to be the much cleaner striker, and I think that he's going to try to shoot if he gets rocked or anything like that. He did it against Lorenz Larkin, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that he's going to be able to use that jab, and I think he's going to have explosive combinations to keep Perry off of him. But I think Perry's going to keep coming, I think both guys obviously could finish each other, but I think Ponzinibbio will actually finish Mike Perry in round 2. I think he'll TKO him. I think Perry's going to be a little bit overconfident, come in, and I think Santiago's going to catch him with a big combination, drop him, and follow up on the ground and finish. And up next we have Ricardo Lamas against Josh Emmett in the co-main event. And I'm pretty confident in this one as well. Josh Emmett is a huge featherweight. He came down from lightweight, and he did show that he has some big power. He knocked down Aranches 3 times, but I'm just not that impressed with him. He comes in with huge looping shots. He'll throw looping right hook, and real susceptible to counters. He loads up and rarely throws kicks. He'll feint and come in with explosive overhands. Tries to hide when he's going to come in. At times he'll throw the jab, but just very rarely. He shoots for takedowns when he's against the cage for sure. But he was unable to hold positions against Scott Holtzman, and that leads me to believe that he won't be able to hold position against Ricardo. And, he slows down. He definitely slows down after the first round. And in round 3, I think if you make it a high pace, he'll definitely be real tired. And he doesn't have very much variety on the feet, man. He just throws that overhand to the body, overhand to the head, overhand to the body. And, sometimes he'll come in with a kick, but I just don't see him having anything for Lamas, man. I think Lamas throws with a lot more variety. Throws head kicks, throws leg kicks, overhand rights, left hands, nice oblique kick. He'll throw bombs when you come at him too, and he's also a real good wrestler with more finishing skills. He has a lot of finishes in the UFC. In his last 2 fights, he choked out Charles Oliveira, who was extremely overweight, which I think should help him in this fight. He's fought very recently against a guy that outsized him tremendously, and should be the case again, but probably not as much. Oliveira was almost 10 pounds over for that fight. And then in his next fight, he had an extremely impressive performance against Jason Knight. Landed some awesome combinations where he was landing straight lefts and rights over and over and just battering them and going to the body and, finish with ground and pound. And I think that he's going to be coming in off of a great camp. He's been preparing to fight Jose Aldo. And Josh Emmett's taking this on short notice. And I think that Lamas is going to be able to counter with straight punches off of Emmett's loopy punches. I think he's going to rock him, fall him to the ground, and finish him by submission. So I'm going to go with Ricardo Lamas in this one. And on to the main event. And we have an amazing fight here with RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, against Robbie Lawler. And they're definitely going to throw down in this fight. I don't think there's going to be anyone having a problem trying to find someone. And RDA and Robbie both come with that pressure style. They come forward and they try to break you with that pace and pressure, and they're striking. RDA does it with big heavy leg kicks, has nice hooks, pretty good boxing. And Robbie Lawler does the same thing. He comes in with hooks. I think Robbie might be a little bit more powerful. He's obviously going to be the bigger guy, especially with his hands. I think he's more powerful. And Robbie's been through a lot of wars, though, man, and you have to wonder when that's going to get to you. Against Donald Cerrone, he showed a much, just not as good a performance as I expected. Early on, he was very aggressive, but then in that second round, he was getting pieced up at range by Cerrone. He was actually taken down and controlled by Cerrone as well, and I
I think RDA is going to be able to take him down if he really wants to. I think he'll be able to take him down. And I think RDA is going to be able to push the pace on him. And I think it's going to be a real good fight. I think that, I don't know, man. I've been really going back and forth on this fight, man, because RDA is definitely real hard to finish as well. You know, he has a great chin. So does Robbie Lawler. But if this was 3 rounds, I would be saying RDA all day. I think RDA in 3 rounds would definitely be able to take a decision. But with 5 rounds, man, this is real interesting. I actually think that I'm going to go with Robbie Lawler, man. I think Robbie Lawler is going to be able to take a decision here. I think he's going to win by decision. I think he's going to be able to wear down RDA. Maybe RDA will get him down early. RDA will put the pressure on him early. But I think that 4th, 5th round time, I think that Robbie Lawler spirit's going to come out. I think he's going to be screaming. I think he's going to be going for the kill. And I think he's going to be able to edge it out against RDA. But yep, that's it for UFC on Fox 26, and hopefully we do better than last week. Last week we went 6-7, which was my worst week so far, and hoping not to get another negative week. We haven't had a week where I've had more losses than wins yet, besides that one. So hoping to bounce back here, and hopefully you like the show, subscribe, and I'm going to be doing more breakdowns for the shows to come, and yep, so subscribe for more, and thanks for watching, guys.